welcome back to the channel, Bassboxing.Outdoors. Today we're going to do something a little fun. I'm going to do a tank review on all these different kinds of crawls that I've got. And I mean the ones that look like crawdads, or they say craw on the package. And I'm going to rig them up in different ways and try to figure out which way looks the best in the tank. Now, just because it looks the best don't mean it's the best way to fish. It just means that it looks better. This is probably going to be a multi-part video. What I'm going to do is show y'all like all the baits in one format, like, you know, like a stand-up jig head, and I'll do all the baits on that one particular thing, and then the next video we might do them all on a Texas rig, and then the third one might be, you know, like a belly weighted hook or a jig. So yeah, I think I'm gonna make multiple parts out of this. This way you can kind of get an idea which bait looks best on what. And like I said, I ain't got every crawl out there, so some of them that y'all might be used to might not be on here. But I do have the majority of them. So that's all I can work with, is the ones I got and the ones I fish with. So with that being said, that's what I'm going to do today. And be sure to let me know if y'all like these kind of videos where I do like all the different baits on one particular style of fishing. And then, like I said, if y'all do, then I'll go ahead and make a part 2 to this. If not, if y'all don't like it and comment on it, I'll just leave it alone at that. But first, I want to say thank y'all for liking and subscribing. Y'all been doing a real good job at that. I did notice though on the giveaway video, a lot of y'all just commented and didn't like hit the thumbs up. So make sure you go back and do that if you haven't done it, because you know that was part of the giveaway rules, was to like, subscribe, and comment. So anyways, with that being said, thank y'all. I really appreciate it. I hope y'all like the content. Unfortunately, I can't get out and go fishing yet because we got 8 inches of snow on the ground. So anyways, with that being said, I think a lot of people are getting hammered with the snow right now. We just got hammered yesterday and the day before, and we got more coming in tonight and tomorrow. So it might be a little while before I get to go fishing. So anyways, like I said, I really appreciate y'all watching the content and helping the channel grow, and I hope y'all stick around and continue to like everything I do. Like I said, I'm gonna do these crawls, and I think on the first one I'm just gonna rig them all up on a stand-up jig head. I think this one's called the Chomper's stand-up jig. Yeah, because that's normally what I fish with, is a stand-up chomper jig. It's a weedless. It's got a little brush guard that comes out in the front of it, and it's a little stand-up head. And like I said, I'm gonna rig all these up, and all the baits that you see, if y'all like this video and y'all like what I'm doing, I'll go back and I'll redo them in a different way. And that way we can make, you know, 2 or 3 videos about this and see which way works best in y'all's opinion. My opinion don't count, so I'm just gonna leave it up to y'all. So make sure whenever y'all watch this video, like, comment, subscribe, share if you want to. Just leave me a comment down on here in the video which one y'all thought looked the best, and we'll go from there, and we'll see how it looks in the next video in a different rigging format. So anyways, thank y'all again. We're going to head over to the tank. So hey y'all, we're over here at the tank, and we're about to do the review of all these tankins. And I just want to let y'all know that, you know, every crawl is designed to work a different way. You know, some are made for swimming, some are made for punching, you know, some are made for Texas rigs, some are made to be behind a jig. So, you know, like I said, just take this into consideration on what you see on these little jig heads. I'm just doing it just to kind of see what they are. And in advance, this might be kind of a long video because I didn't realize I had that many crawls, so we'll see. if they are too small, I'm not going to worry about trying to put them on there. I'll just move on to the next. So first up, we got this Yum Crispy Crawl. So let's get this one in there and see what this looks like. I will say that I am impressed with the flappers. How they kind of just, they swirl on the way down, they flap around on the way down. And, you know, of course on a stand-up jig, it helps stand up. That's the whole purpose. But if a lure is not buoyant, sometimes the plastic will overweigh the head and make it fall over. So just keep that in mind. So there's that. I kind of like that. You know, at first I didn't really care for it. And now that I'm seeing it on this rig, it looks a lot better. So I think it looks pretty good. Y'all can let me know what y'all think, but anyways, I think that it looks really good. And so anyways, that's the Yum Crispy Crawl. And I'm doing these first because these I don't have packages to. I have a box that's full of them. So we're going to go on with that. Next up, we have the Yum Spine Crawl. And this one's kind of an interesting looking little creature bait. It's kind of got like a V in it, in the flappers, or where the pinchers are, with a little bitty like groove in it that helps it flap, I guess. So anyways, it kind of has the same action as the other one as far as the pinchers go, but I think the other one has better action. But anyways, that's the Yum Spine Crawl. As you can see, it stands up, and the pinchers kind of fold back in together, so now it don't even look like it's even got any pinchers on it. But it definitely has some flutter on the way down, so I like that. I'm not going to sit here and talk too much about the baits. I'm going to try to go on with the next ones because, like I said, I got a lot of them on here. So I will give y'all a chance to see each one equally. That way you can kind of make your, you know, decision off which one you like the best. Next up, we have nothing other than the Strike.King Rage Crawl. And this one is in Okeechobee Crawl. And here we go. And as you can see, it's got really good action. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But the weight of the lure makes the head fall over, so there's no buoyancy whatsoever in this bait. That's why it steadily just keeps falling over. But like I said, there is tons of action in those pinchers, which I really like. You can see as if, you know, you were swimming it, you'd have plenty of action. A lot of people use these on the back of chatterbaits, jigs, you name it. I wouldn't be afraid to use it like this. I just wouldn't leave it on the bottom very long. I would be bouncing it through the grass and stuff, but on a slow retrieve, it's real good. Like I said, the buoyancy's not there. That's the only thing I don't like. But other than that, that's the Strike.King Rage Bug. I mean, Rage Crawl, not Rage Bug. And like I said, I didn't do any like crawl, you know, like any bugs or creatures. If y'all want to see that done this way, let me know, and we'll continue to do that. So we're gonna go on to the next ones. Now we're gonna do probably the Craw Father, and that's made by Missile Baits. Craw Father, black and red flake. So let's see how that looks. It was almost too small, but I got it on there. Alright, so you can see it's got a little bit of buoyancy, or it just don't weigh enough to mess with it. But anyways, the pincher's got really good action. Really worked good on the fall down. And I was wrong about it. Don't really have too much buoyancy in it. It's got a little bit if you land it just right. But I think it'll really be good on, you know, like a slow retrieve bait, or something like, you know, maybe like a chatterbait or a bladed jig or something like that. As you can see, those little pinchers put off a lot of action. So, anyways, that's the Missile Bait Crawl Father. Next up, we're gonna go with the Rage Tail Space Monkey, and this one is in June Bug. And I'm gonna have to tell y'all, I think this thing would almost work really good on the top of the water. And the reason I say that, if any of y'all have got them, they've almost got like these little eyeballs on them that look like frogs, like, you know, like soft rubber frogs on the top. And I think if you put that thing behind a buzz bait, or shoot, even just Texas rigging, I think it would be really good. So as you can see, I do like the action that the little front leg give. The big ones give off quite a bit of action too, but the front ones really do. It don't have a ton of buoyancy to it, which I don't think any of the Strike.King Rage Crawl have that much buoyancy to them. You can see that one got hung up, and even the claws really don't float. But it does look really good, and I'm gonna say right now, I feel very confident that you can catch a lot of fish off of that, probably on a slow retrieve. So yeah, that thing looks really good on the slow retrieve. So I think it would make a good trailer behind like a chatterbait or something. Next up, we're gonna do the Netbait Taka Slim. And this one's in Okeechobee Flare. I think this one's probably going to look pretty good. Could be wrong, but I think it's probably a little bit more buoyant. So you can see the claws are buoyant, they stand up. Those little legs that are down towards the front got a lot of action behind them too. They're sitting there wiggling back and forth. But yeah, them claws make really good action. So far I ain't seen one that hasn't really put off that much, you know, that hasn't put off quite a bit of action. me myself, on a jig like this, I tend to like one that's more buoyant. That way it stands up like that. And I think this one's even got air pockets in it, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're supposed to be like bubbles that come out or something. Not sure, it might be a different one. But definitely a good looking bait. Nothing wrong with that. Like the color. The claws are got little blue tips on them, which is really cool. But yeah, that's a good looking bait. Alright, so next up I think we're gonna do, these are the Power Bait Chigger Crawl, black and red flake. So we're gonna see what that looks like. This one I think probably gonna have quite a bit of action in it. It's got some big old flappers, and I know it stinks. Alright, not too bad. Probably not one of my favorite ones, that's for sure. I don't know, those flappers seem to flap pretty good. I definitely like the color. That red really stands out good. And the claws seem to be somewhat buoyant, so that helps. I don't know, that one, I don't know what to think about that one. I mean, it's got action, but it ain't action like those other ones. I wonder, and they don't swim that well. But anyways, that's the Power Bait Chigger Crawl. Next, we're gonna go with the Rage Denny Crawl. And this one's in a summer crawl. And these got a little bit of a different profile than the regular Rage Crawls do. They have a little bit shorter flapper pinchers on them, and kind of weird looking. Not too bad. You know, it's got that defensive posture on it. You know, the claws are not overwhelmingly too big, and they seem to open up whenever it hits and then closes back. But I will say this, it's nowhere near the action the original Rage Crawl has on it. This is more of a subtle presentation, which I mean would be probably better for like pitching and punching and stuff like that. But all in all, not too bad. Not the greatest action, but not the worst action. Next up, we're going to do one of my favorites. I use these all the time. These are the 10,000 Fish Saw Crawl. I don't know how they're going to react on this stand-up head. I've never used them that way. I always use them behind a jig or Texas rig. Alright, I will say it has movement like the Rage Crawl does. The Rage Crawl probably has a little bit better action, but they're really right there together. And that's a good looking crawl. And let's see how the swimming action looks. Oh yeah. Definitely a good looking bait. Can't complain about that. And I'm not being biased either. Y'all can see that. That's some good action. Like I said, it's literally almost just as good as the Rage Bug. I don't think it's quite there, but it's almost there. So yeah, that's your 10,000 fish saw crawl. So let's move on to the next. Alright, so now we are gonna do the power bait, Berkeley power bait, HD true color, the Champ Crawl. And this one's in a rusty crawl. I tell you, I really do like the realness on these baits. They look real. I mean, it's almost like they took a picture of a crawfish and put it on a bait. I will say that, it does look really real. So, I will say that it has really good action. It's really buoyant. Probably the most buoyant one I've seen so far. Looks like a real crawdad to me. And them pinchers are just so fat. So, anyways, I like it. I think that looks good. I mean, there's not a whole lot of action in them, but it does stand up in the defensive posture better than the most of them I've seen so far, so I will give it that. The pinchers don't create a lot of action, but they do stand there at the bottom and wave around like that, so I would think that you would be able to tear some fish up off that. And the realism looks really good too. Next up, we're going to have a bait that's factoried out of my home state here in Arkansas, and they're called Thunderhawk lures. This one's called the Camel Craw. The color is Junebug. So I'm curious to see how this one looks. This one has got a different profile. It's got a ribbed profile. It's kind of flat, and then it's got some big old pinchers on it. Looks good. Wow, that looks really good. I like that. Not too bad for a bait coming from Arkansas. Let's see how it does on the swim. Oh yeah. Looking good. It stands up. The claws are good and buoyant. They stand in a defensive posture. Lots of action on the fall down and up, and a lot of action on the swim. So all in all, I'd have to say this one looked just as good as the saw crawl and the Rage Crawl. Thunderhawk's lures, they done a good job on this one. Real good. Alright, let's move on to the next. Next up, we have one made by Big Bite Baits. There's not a name on it. It just says Big Bite Baits, and I think this one's called the Flat Daddy or something. And this is the one I was telling you about that has the air pockets in it. So Let's see how this looks. All in all, not too bad. I don't think any of them are going to look horrible, I don't guess, but some of them have just got way more action than the others. And like I said, you know, each one's designed for different purposes. But all in all, it don't look too bad. I thought it was supposed to let some air bubbles out or something. Here they come. There you go. That's pretty cool. Little air bubbles. So yeah, there's your big bite. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure what that one's called. There wasn't a name on it, so. Anyways, we'll move on to the next. Alright, so now we're going to do probably a lot of people's new favorites. This is the ZMan Pro Crawl, and this is in the color of dill. I know last time I reviewed this bait on this channel, a lot of people were high on it. So, we'll see what it looks like on this. Oh yeah, real good action. You can see it right there, it's waving around. And it's, you know, ZMan makes their stuff real buoyant, so. Looking real good. And, you know, it all goes back to this, you know, it always stands up. That's one thing I really like about it. The pinchers itself, they don't have a lot of action, but it's doing what a crawl's supposed to do. It's standing up, defending its little area, trying to keep from getting eaten. So I like that, and I like it a lot. So we'll move on to the next one. That was the ZMan Pro Crawl. Next up, we're gonna do the Excite-Bait Raptor Tail Jr. and a green pumpkin. This right here looks like it'll have quite a bit of action as well. Well, you can see it's a buoyant one. I know it says like high floater on it, so I'm assuming it's buoyant. So that one stands pretty much like the ZMan does. Claws have got plenty of action. I wouldn't say it is as buoyant as the ZMan for sure. But all in all, it looks good. You know, it's got that posture like it needs to. The claws don't create a whole lot of action, but they put off enough. So all in all, not a bad looking bait. Excite-Bait Raptor. The Raptor Tail Jr. Next up is Bruiser Baits Crazy Crawl, and this is in a color called Shell Cracker. I really like the color on this one. Looks real good. Let's see what the action looks like on this bad boy. Alright, it's got pretty good action. It's got those bigger size claws on it, but the action's real good. Got a little bit of buoyancy. Really like the color on it. The swim through is pretty good, not too bad. All in all, not a bad looking bait. So that's your bruiser bait. Let's move on to the next. Next up, we are gonna do, let's do the Zoom Super Speed Crawl. And this is in a black sapphire. I know a lot of people like these and they use them. Really surprised by the buoyancy on it. Got a lot of movement too. A lot of them claws move quite a bit. Yeah, that looks good. So yeah, that's your Zoom Super Speed Crawl. Next up is another Zoom, and this is the Z Crawl Junior. And this one is in a black flash. I really like this color because it imitates bait fish pretty well. Real shiny. Oh yeah, that looks good. And it's real buoyant. The claws put off a lot of action. Really like the color on it. So, anyways, that's your Zoom Z Crawl. Looking good. The next one up is a lot of people's favorites, and it's the Ganon Craw. A lot of people compare these to the Rage Crawl. I know there's a big deal about these, which one's better, so. Well, there's definitely some really good action going on. I'm gonna fall down. Now, I will say it's built just like the Z Crawl or the Rage Crawl, because it don't really have that much buoyancy on it. It has a little bit, probably a little bit more than what that other one did, but you can see it just tends to fall over too. But all in all, the action's there. Let's see how it looks on the swim. Oh yeah. Looking good. What I really like on the Rage Crawl and this one and the 10,000 fish saw crawl is it don't take a lot to get those claws moving. So that's real nice. So anyways, there's your Ganon Craw. Alright, so next up we're gonna do it's gonna be another ZMan. This is the Ultra Vibe Speed Crawl in a Dassol clear dark color. And we're going to see how it looks. I knew I couldn't do one of the zooms without the other. So, see how this looks. Oh yeah, looks real good. You know, I didn't used to ever think there was a difference in them, but the profile is a little bit different than the Speed Crawl and the Vibe. The Speed Crawl has bigger pinchers on there and a little bit bigger of a body, and the Ultra Vibe smaller with smaller pinchers on there. But they both look good, that's for sure. I like the color on this one. Seems to stand up pretty good. So, see how it looks on the retrieve. Oh yeah, looks pretty good. Got that real tight wobble. So, that's your Ultra Vibe Speed Crawl from Zoom. Next up is the ZMan Turbo Crawl. And this one's in a watermelon candy. See how this one looks. Oh yeah. Of course, like I said, you know, it's always going to stand up because that's just how Z-Man's is. And you can see the tons of action on the fall down. See how it works on the swim. Oh yeah. Tons of action. So that's your ZMan Turbo Crawl. Next up, we have 13 Fishing Wobble Crowl. And this one is in an OG sour. Curious to see how this one looks. Alright, look at all them bubbles. Tons of action in them little ears, what they call rabbit ears. We call them pinchers. But yeah, there's tons of action in that. I like how it stands up. The swim look good. Stands up good. It puts off bubbles every now and then. But yeah, all in all, that thing looks pretty good. I know I'll definitely be using it. It's a bigger profile crawl bait too. Alright y'all, we have one more left. So the last one is going to be the 13 Fishing Ninja Crawl. And this one's in PB&J town. And this one right here is another one of my favorites. It's a little video profile bait, but it puts off a lot of action. As you can see, it's real buoyant. And those claws, they just stand out so wide, which makes for a good presentation. I mean, they don't kick a lot, but the profile of them, the way they're designed, man, it helps. So, anyways, that's the last one. Alright. So that's the last one, y'all. So let me know if y'all like this video. Let me know which one y'all thought was y'all's favorite. And if y'all want to see more videos like this, let me know. I'll do like a part 2, and I'll rig them up in a different way, and we'll do another video. So just like, comment, and subscribe, and like I said, just leave me a comment whether or not you liked the video and what your favorite one was, and if you want to see another video like this. Thank y'all for watching. Until next time, have a good night.